Hi guys, welcome back. We're here with number 40.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I know, that seems kind
We're
of
getting up into higher numbers, and it's crazy how many we've almost done.
It's fun to see how much it's growing.
How many we've almost done, how many we have done, but
Yeah.
we're almost to a year, and that's kind of exciting.
It
Getting
is.
close.
It's April when we started.
I don't know, but 52 weeks.
We took off a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think it was April.
Yeah, okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. All right, friends, welcome back to episode number 40.
Today we're going to talk to you about consistency over perfection.
We're excited about this episode.
I love this topic, and I think this is such an important one that everyone, not just homeschool moms, everyone needs to learn and understand about.
Yes, because honestly, perfection doesn't exist.
Right.
Nothing is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to burst anybody's bubble.
There's a lot of perfectionists that might be listening to this episode, and we want you to know that it's not possible. You may think so, and you may think that you're getting there, but you really will never achieve perfection at all in this life.
Oh, that's funny. That almost sounds like a give up, but it's not a
Don't
give
give
up.
up.
Yeah.
No, don't give up.
But that's why we want to talk about consistency.
Yeah.
And the importance of consistency. Of
Yeah.
just doing those little small things every single day that you think don't really matter. But like, think of those little habits. Like, you just probably wake up, you brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Like, you put on deodorant. And you may not think much of it because it's just become a small habit, but like, you have better dental care.
Right.
And like, you don't
Right.
have cavities and you don't stink.
Yeah, I always remember, and this is an example for anything that you're practicing. Like, if you just practice one time a week versus 6 times a week, but you do the same amount of time, like 2 hours on one day a week versus, little bits each day, you're not going to really achieve the same results as doing it each day as you would in doing one big chunk. So there's that, like, every day, working through something, and it's going to gradually make you better at it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it totally does.
So us as moms, I feel like we always think we can achieve or think we have to achieve perfection, especially like religious moms and homeschooling moms, because we have a lot more on our plate or a lot more expectations for us and really high standards typically. Right?
I wondered though, do you think part of like social media world has heightened it?
Yes, I definitely think so. And I think that's a really hard thing for us now because we scroll Instagram and there's just these beautiful feeds of these women in their perfect homeschool rooms with their hair done and their makeup done and they're in the best clothes, and you're like, man, their kids, their family, it's perfect.
Yeah.
From the outside. You don't see that 5 minutes before she was scraping off the table to make it clean to look perfect, or that her kid was screaming and she made him brush his hair and he didn't want to, or whatever it might be. You don't know what happened behind before or after that picture. But that's all we see is that perfect image.
Yes, well, I always love to, because we call it the pit, and we have an old home we bought, and so it's the awesome split level 70s that I don't know why anybody thought that was a good idea. So we have this pit, and my kids, we put a couch down there and like a TV, and they're supposed to be creating this room for them, and it's ugly. It is ugly. So it's never made any picture, because I'm like, ugh. Like, people don't show their ugly rooms. And so like, I have ugly rooms. I have
an ugly room too that never makes pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of funny that, like, I think there was some movie, like all the 80s movies, and they'd go in the basements, and their basements were ugly. And I was like, oh yeah, people have ugly basements. And I was like, oh no, now they have fancy basements. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. No, but I think it's really important to just stop that comparison and stop thinking that your world needs to look perfect at every minute, because it's not possible, and it's not going to. And so just stop that thought first. Just stop it.
Yeah. Well, I think too, you start thinking, oh, I have so much to do. And like, hey, well, if I'm going to homeschool, like, I have to get ready all the time, and I have to have these beautiful meals, and I have to have these amazing lesson plans. And you just start piling more and more on yourself, and you start feeling so overwhelmed. And when you feel overwhelmed, you usually feel frustrated, like, exhausted.
You get grumpy with your kids.
You're grumpy with you're snippy. You are sneaking away to eat chocolate in your closet, right? And then that's when you eventually get to the point where you're like, this isn't even worth it. This is too hard. This is too much. I can't do it.
I think I had one of those moments this week.
What happened?
I just had a really crazy week. It was really busy and really full, and there were about 3 days in a row that were just like jam-packed with extra stuff, not our norm, like running people to the airport, dentist appointments, eye appointments, just like boom, 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 everything. And then our youth activity that I had to lead that night, and it was just one thing to the next. And I remember just don't even know if yesterday or Thursday or what day it was, I was like, why do I have to keep homeschooling even? Like, why can't I just like, those moments come where you're just like, if I didn't have that, everything else would be easier. And it's like the big main thing of my whole life. And of course it would be easier. But those thoughts, like,
though.
I know it is a trade-off, and I know the benefits, and it's just those nagging thoughts that come at me every once in a while of like, if I could just unload everything, then I could just relax.
Yeah, I think it's interesting though. You said I have to, and that's my one word I always switch. Like I could. I could do this. Or I could not. Like if this doesn't serve my family, I'm more than happy to nope. It's a big no from me.
Yeah, and that's good. We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, we will.
Saying no to things, which is great.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think it's a big shift. You need to just change your thoughts from perfection to progress and consistency. Yeah. So I like the phrase of progress, not perfection, just because of the alliteration. But it's basically the same thing. At the beginning of the year, I set a goal for myself to learn to play the piano. And I've always wanted to play, and I've always been able to, plunk out a few notes. But I decided I'm going to teach myself this year. And so I've been working at it, and I'm terrible. My kids are all better than me. And they come and stand around and give me tips and everything. But I'm playing, and I'm clumsy, and it's messy, and it takes me a long time to get to the next note, and especially two-handed. Great with just my right hand. But if you think about that, whenever you're learning a new skill, it's going to be that way for a while. It's going to be messy. It's going to be clumsy. It's going to be hard. It's going to take you a while to get the steps right and the notes right. But that's just kind of the reality of life. And it's not going to just be given to you, handed to you easily.
No, and I don't remember who the original author is of this, but there are 4 stages of mastering a skill. And the first one is actually like the desire. You don't even know you're bad at it. So like Karen's like, I want to learn to play the piano. She doesn't even know how bad she is at playing the piano. Until phase number 2, when you start playing the piano and you're like, this sounds terrible. Like it's a cacophony. And it's just like horrendous to listen to me play. I don't know. I'm just teasing.
No,
but like
pretty much.
Yeah, but like it's that painful stage. Like, why should I be doing this? That's that kind of questioning stage. Should I keep going with this? And then the third stage is where you'll come next, of where all of a sudden you can start like hearing the melody.
Yeah.
But you have to think about it more consciously. But your right and your left hand are now talking to each other. Like it's not as painful. I can kind of hear the songs until phase 4, when it starts becoming that habit. Like, oh, I can play this song. Like I can do this. And but getting through phase 2 is the trickiest part.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It's the painful. I call it the ring of fire stage, like delivery. But it's so worth it because you get a baby at the end. But you have to go through that process first.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What are the other 2? Did you only do 2?
Yeah, no, I did 4.
Oh,
so the first one, you're not aware that you're
okay.
bad at it. The second one, you're painfully aware you're bad at it.
Oh, okay.
The third one is that you are starting to consciously, like you have to consciously think, like this is how I'm going to do it. So like somebody who's been yelling at their kids, that would be the stage. Like they're about to yell, but then they think, I don't yell anymore. And then the 4th stage is like, now I can just play the piano. Now I can just talk to my kid without yelling.
Yeah, I like that.
And
okay.
So, yeah,
that makes sense. Sorry, I must have tuned out somehow.
No, you're okay. Karen fell asleep while I was talking.
All right. And another thing, just kind of along with that, the mistakes that we make in life are really what help us grow and learn the most. Yeah. So when you're failing and when you're doing those things wrong that you think should be perfected by now, it's going to help you grow and learn and step up a little further.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to share some ways to help stay consistent in homeschool. I think a big part is having homeschool hours and making them a priority. So some people we're about 9:30 when we start school. And so about 9:30 to noon, and I won't answer my phone or my door. It's backfired once. My husband needed a ride once, and I won't answer my phone.
Even your husband?
I just don't have my phone with me.
Oh, okay.
I don't keep it by me on purpose because it's just a bad habit to grab your phone and look at it, right? So, yeah, I just won't do those things, and I won't really help people during those hours. Like, those are my school hours, because if you had a job, like homeschooling your kids is your job, and so it wouldn't be like, hey, can you watch my kids while you're working at the bank? And you're like, I can't take your kids while I'm working. So having the homeschool hours and making them a priority. When I first started homeschooling, I actually had 2 other neighbors that homeschooled, and the one did different homeschool hours than I did, so their kids would show up knocking on the door at 10:30 in the morning.
Oh, no.
So I finally had to make a sign that said, like, school is in, you can come back later. And then while you're with in your school hours, decide what is most important. So like Karin said, they had eye doctor appointments this week, saying, okay, we do have a bump in our schedule today because we're going to the eye doctor, but what is most important? Probably scripture study, maybe read aloud. Like these are the things that are the most important. Or maybe
make
when
sure
we
those
come
get
back,
done.
make sure those get done so that you're having that consistency with homeschooling.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And I think it, just having your routine too, you just got like, we do this every day, every day we plug away at this. It may not be great every day. It may be 5 minutes today and 20 minutes tomorrow because of some interruption, but you just kind of, you just consistently follow your routine. And when your kids know that routine, then it's going to help.
It really does. Because I think I posted a picture once of my perfect life, but no, of my kids, they were like, somebody was practicing the piano, somebody was reading, and it just it looked a perfect moment for real. Like it looked so awesome. And someone was like, my homeschool never looked like that. But you have to remember, how many years am I in?
Yeah.
So this has been a lot of habit training of this consistency of this is what we do.
And there are those perfect moments. Like I've had those too where I'm like, oh, this is so picture perfect. And it's great to snap a picture to remind you that once in a while those perfect little moments come along. Most of the time it's going to look messy and loud and chaotic and whatever, and that's fine. That's kind of how it's supposed to be. But
there's a beauty to it though. There definitely is.
So my husband, you guys have, if you've listened for a while, he's a therapist, and
That's like one of our biggest episodes. Was Rich's.
It is. Rich's episode has done really well. I'm glad you guys liked it.
It's about teaching kids about sex. We just should reaffirm that. That was an amazing episode.
It was a fun one to do with him. So he works obviously with a lot of people who are struggling and who feel like they're not good enough and feel like they're not perfect enough or whatever their struggles may be. And he has a little thing he calls the perfection trap. And he says to think about first, who is it that wants us to think that we're not good enough? And that is Satan. And he tells us that we have to be perfect and without sin and doing everything right and always having it all together. But we never do and we never will. Right. And so we always feel this guilt and this pressure. And he puts that pressure on us and allows us to feel those negative thoughts about ourselves constantly. Now, that mindset of thinking you have to be perfect, it makes us disregard Christ and makes us disregard the atonement, because he is obviously we're going to fall short and we're never going to be perfect in this life, but Christ and his atonement helps us to overcome our inadequacies. And when we just accept that and we turn to Christ with our shortcomings that are going to come, then we will be better, and he's going to just make it all better. He's going to fix it. He's going to save us from those problems and those inadequacies and imperfections.
Yeah, well, and he fills in the gap. It's the loaves and the fishes, right? Like you do your best and Christ will fill in the gaps, because you can't teach every subject and you can't cover everything in history. And so you do your best and Christ fills in the gaps. And it's beautiful to and that's something that I have to do to remind myself, I'm just going to do the best, because I think of a lot of these things I learned in my 30s. Yeah. Or I learned in my 20s. Why do they need to learn it by 10? Why do they need to learn by 15, right? And so, okay, I'll teach you what I can teach you, and I'm going to love the heck out of you. And that's what I can do, and he's going to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think we're going to kind of end with this last part of how to say no. This is like how to say no to drugs.
No, I think this is so great. Do any of you struggle with saying no to things? Because I do. That's been a struggle for me. I'm a people pleaser. Yeah. And I like to just help people, and if they ask me something, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I can figure out how to make that one work.
Yeah. Well, so this is my mind.
So this is great.
This is good. I don't know if I've always been good at saying no, or if I've just acquired this skill.
I've gotten better at it as I've gotten older.
Maybe I'm more disagreeable than you, so I'm like, that doesn't work for me.
I don't think it's about being disagreeable. I think it's about learning your limits.
Yeah, I think that's where it came from, is because I was saying yes, and then I was doing a crappy job at 5 things. Yes. Instead of a really good job with 2. And so, and I think too, it just came with homeschooling, that people think, well, you're home, could you watch my kids? Well, you're home, could you do, walk my dog? Yeah. Well, you're home is wait a minute, what do you think we're doing all day?
Right, seriously.
Sleeping, just pillow fights and tickling on the floor.
Eating chocolates all day long on the couch. Watching soap operas.
Soap operas, that would be hilarious. My kids asked what a soap opera was this other day. Trash.
I never watched one, so I don't know really.
So this is kind of my 6 steps of saying no. So first step is never commit to something on the spot. So if the beautiful Karen calls me and says, Meg, can you watch Millie? Can Millie come to your house, our cute little 5-year-old, 5?
From 9 to 12.
From 9 to 12. Can Millie come play at your house with your kids? And so always give yourself time to answer this, because Karen is my friend, and I may be like, oh, well, she could play with my kids. Maybe she'll sit there. I want to help her. So let me look at my calendar and I'll get back to you. Mm-hmm. You do not have to answer right away. If they want an answer right then you can just say no, because I have to check my calendar. Mm-hmm. So then number 2, if you are available, but you feel like this is going to push me over the edge. So let's say Millie just is super quiet and would just want to sit there with my kids. And I'd be like, well, that actually wouldn't be too bad. Mm-hmm. But I'm oh no, Millie's going to be swinging from the chandelier and chasing the dog.
That's more likely.
Yeah. Then if it's going to push you over the edge, you are it's no. But if you're well, maybe this could work, then you check your motivation. Mm-hmm. So if I'm this could work, but am I only saying yes because I am afraid to say no? And I just feel obligated to say yes. So if it's just out of fear or obligation, guess what? It's a no. Just no. So then you go to the next one. If you have time, the energy, you have to ask yourself, could I lovingly do this? Okay, this is a one-time thing. Karen doesn't ask me all the time. Millie, I love her. She's adorable. We could actually do nature study with her, because that would be really great for her. Could I lovingly do this? Then I would call her back and say yes. But if I'm you know what? I do have time and the energy, but I don't want her at my house. Just plain and simple. I don't want another kid.
Yeah.
Then I'd call or text the person back, and you do not have to give the reason or the excuse, because I don't need to say, and so this isn't real, just so you know.
I know.
Millie drives me crazy, Karen. She can't come to my house. That's not true. Millie's adorable. Or give an excuse oh, Tuesdays are hard days for us, because if you give an excuse, the other person will solve that for you. Tuesdays
what about
hard?
Wednesday?
Yeah, I'll just bring her on Wednesday. I'll change my thing around. You're oh, actually, no day is good for me. So you can just be oh, Karen, I love you, but it's a no from me. Mm-hmm. Thank you for thinking of me. That's when I use a lot of times. Yeah. Could you, with homeschool stuff, I feel people ask a lot of questions. And thank you for thinking of me. I see why you thought of me, but it's a no. Yeah. Karen got a really good one the other day.
Yeah. Just a simple, that's not going to work for our family this week.
Yeah. That doesn't work for our schedule or our family. I love that.
Yeah. And you don't have to give the reason. You can just say, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for us right now. And it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. That's the best line, and it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I've been using that one a lot lately. Who said that? There's someone that was talking about that. It was Kara.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
We talked about Kara before.
Side note,
she started our learning circle.
Our little friend Kara.
We love her. But honestly, you just can't do it all. And I think I posted a picture of our pumpkins that we never carved for Halloween.
Oh, right. I remember.
Yeah, that was just here are everybody's posting all these adorable pumpkins. And I was here are ours.
Did I share about my pumpkins?
No. Did you never buy them?
Well, I went to get them a little too late. And the day we went to get them, the guy was literally folding down the box with all the pumpkins. And there were a couple little frozen squishy ones rolling out, because it snowed here before Halloween.
Yeah, it did.
And it was probably 2 days before Halloween or something. And he was folding up the box. I had my kids there, and they're all just standing there watching with horror in their eyes. I'm sorry, we missed it this year.
Yeah. No, we were.
It's okay.
I just grabbed a couple from Costco, so I don't even think I had enough. But my husband hates carving pumpkins.
I don't really
with a
like
passion.
it either.
Well, then I don't mind, but doing it by myself, I was I don't want to help 7 people carve their pumpkins. Maybe 1 or 2 kids, and chewing a trade-off. But that's the faults of the perfection Instagram lifestyle. It looks like I'm doing it all, but you don't see that maybe there's a cleaner, or we're eating out for dinner, or you know what I mean, or you're not carving pumpkins, or I think my kids' hair is a mess because I can't do it all, or you know what I mean,
right. Yeah.
There's always a trade-off. So pick what's most important, and to me that's my relationship with my kids and that time for homeschooling and making sure it gets done.
Yeah, definitely. So ladies, don't think that you have to be perfect, because it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You do your best and you do you, and don't stress about what the other people that you see are doing and think that they're perfect. They're not either.
They're not either. Mm-mm. And they may have a different skill mastered than you do. I think my sister does this really good job at keeping a beautiful home. But I also have to look. She only has 3 kids, and they're teens, and they're in school all day.
Oh yeah.
So
it would be easy.
It's a little easier to keep a house clean, for those times, and so it's okay. Like her house is beautiful, and mine can be, but it's just different. Like we have different skills and different places where you excel, and so it's just so funny that sometimes we compare our weaknesses to other people's strengths because it doesn't serve us.
Comparing. What's the phrase of comparing your today to somebody else's? What is that?
It's Jordan Peterson. Yeah, it's don't compare yourself to who someone else is today. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
Yes, that's the one. Thank you.
Yeah. This is from Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life.
Yeah, that's a good book.
It's a really great book. So anyway,
thanks for tuning in today.
Yes, I just hope this leaves you feeling like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
If I just read scriptures with my kids today, good enough.
Good enough.
Love your babies and just do your best.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one, ladies. We'll talk to you later.
See you guys.
Bye.